Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here today with Carol and Gretta, and as always, the Realm of Beings. And we're very pleased to be on Transformation Network every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and naturally, you can find us anytime after that on your favorite streaming network. Shifting Impressions will help you examine your life and your creation of reality to see what shows up and how maybe you can better understand that. So if you're new to the podcast, each week, Gretta, Carol, and I discuss a quotation that Gretta has downloaded from the Realm of Beings. And then towards the end of the podcast, Gretta channels the Realm, and they get to weigh in on their quotation. So this week, you are an infinite beginner. And the quotation is, each reality that you create is a new dawning, a new beginning. So revel in your creations and be thankful for all. They are supporting you in your lessons and spiritual evolution. So I think yesterday was just Thanksgiving, right? So thankful for everything.
Yes.
Well, I like
ahead.
this, and I interpret this as living in the now. And I like the idea of each day being a new dawning, because if you felt you might not have succeeded at something yesterday, you get to start all over again today and create whatever reality you want. And I think it just really hones in on the fact that we do create our own reality at all times, that time is an illusion, and that you can understand that everything is supporting the lessons you're meant to learn in this complete spiritual evolution that we are part of.
I would even say to change the meant to what you have chosen to learn. I would say
Good
that
point.
because we're never meant to do anything. It's a matter of what do we choose to do? What do we choose to create?
I like that better.
Thank you. Regardless sometimes we create things that we wonder about, how did I do that? Especially me for last week, experiencing COVID, experiencing strep throat at the same time. And that was very interesting experience, but I had to figure out why I had that experience, which I did, and I wasn't ending with that. I was walking up a friend's house and fell over, I said, okay, strep throat, COVID, and now I've fallen over on my right side, which meant it was a male I was challenged with, right? So I had to think about and say, what male was that? Who was I allowing to disturb my beingness? And then I figured out, I'm not going to tell the people who it was, though, but I did discover who the person was, and definitely a male, because remember, I didn't fall on my left side, I fell on my right side. Right side is male in our cultural framework, in Western cultural framework, and the left side is lets you know that it's a female that's challenging you. But that's
Gretta, Greta, I noticed that you were able to connect the dots back to your source of your creation, and you did it rather quickly, I might add. What can most of us expect? Because a lot of us challenge to get to the root of what is the current creation we're doing, especially if it's something we feel we don't really want to create. What can one expect to be a normal, I know time is an illusion, but a normal timeline to be able to track back to the root of what is causing a specific situation? Because you did it quickly.
Yeah, I did. First thing I did was I looked at the mental equivalencies.
Mm-hmm.
The mental equivalencies, and we've shown the two books that we use on the podcast. One is You Can Heal Your Life with Louise Hay, and the other one is Encyclopedia of Ailments and Diseases by Jacques Martel. But I look at the mental equivalencies. Like I knew soon I read my throat was hurting. So I said, I've got strep throat. And I said, what does that mean? That means that I wanted to say something to somebody, but I didn't. So it's either a sign if you have a sore throat, is a sign that you didn't say something to somebody that you wanted to say it to, or you didn't say enough to the person. So I said, okay, it's got something to do with what I was going to speak or didn't speak. And then COVID is a sign of anger. So the flu, same thing. So I knew I was angry. I did not, and then I had to think about when I fell over, on my right side. So then I said, okay, it's a male. Then I went, after I looked at the mental equivalencies to see what did they represent, then I went to see who was the person that I was possibly upset with. And then I discovered that, and then I could just let it go and release it. Then you release it through QDRs or whatever. But the thing is that I'm grateful for it. And I think that's what the quote is saying, be thankful for all of it. I'm thankful because if I did not have the strep throat, I never would have known that I was in that place. If I didn't have COVID, I would never have known that I was angry. So if I didn't know it, I'm not going to deal with it. You see, knowing it gives you an opportunity to just deal with it. And I'm not beating myself up. In fact, I was in a loop because last year I had COVID. But I told myself this time, I said, oh, you're doing so much better, Greta. I said, you only had strep throat, you only had COVID. Last year I had strep throat, COVID, and pneumonia, all represent on Halloween. Now, the part that I have not figured out yet is why did I create this on Halloween again? It was like that one I have not figured out. I got to be honest. But
Maybe that was the costume you chose to wear.
It could have been. I hadn't thought of it like that, Carol.
Well,
so but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every challenging experience I had. I don't necessarily like all of them, but I'm grateful for them because they help me evolve. They help me, like I said, had I not had COVID, I would never have known I was angry at this particular person. I would have just gone on,
and you probably would have carried that anger through into future events.
Right. Well, not even future, because there's no future, but it would have gone into the nowness. I would be hanging on to it. So this way I provided an opportunity for me to release it. And I think I did a QDR. I release all emotions and thoughts that support me in creating and maintaining anger. I love myself unconditionally. That's a QDR. But I see Leigh's eyes moving, and I know there's that big, beautiful smile. Okay, Leigh, what you got? What you got for us?
When I read this quotation, the first thing that jumped out at me was that word revel. It's not so common, right? So, I mean, I knew what it meant, but then I said, okay, let me just double check. And, you know, when I looked at it in the, dictionary, it was, I mean, revel is something like surpasses, in my opinion, surpasses even joy, when it's talking about like be like exuberantly festive kind of. And I think that that's important. I mean, my gosh, if we could reach that level of, ecstaticness, I guess, would be amazing. But it's just important to try and keep that in your mind, I think, as much as you can. Because, I mean, yes, it is possible when everything is going well and everything is going good to, be joyful. But oftentimes when things aren't going that way, it could be a key actually to like lightening up a bit, because I found myself lost in something several days ago, and all of the voices were inside of me. Somebody was complaining about expectations. Somebody was complaining about my lack of doing something. I mean, you name it. There were probably 5 things going on in my head, which didn't lead me to be very thrilled. And, but when I was able to be the observer of all of this that was happening within. And, Greta, you said an important word. You said that we accept, these things that are going on, right? We allow, actually, that was the word, allow the anger to live or whatever inside of us. And once I realized, once I kind of stepped into that observer role to see what was happening, and sometimes a little levity can break the spell a little bit. Once I tried to sort of laugh at what was going on, what I saw going on, it was able to kind of break up the monotony that was all of these thoughts and emotions that were happening about a situation. When I like came to look in on it, I was actually just fine.
I think it's important for us to, and I know this is a challenge for me many times, for us to reel back and again accept that we're creating what's going on. It's our reality. We are the creators. And I know I have to remind myself continuously about that, because sometimes I just throw up my hands and say, I can't anymore. And, I have to take that step back and recognize there's a lesson here. What am I supposed to learn? And it is very challenging. And I'm glad, Leigh, that you only have 5 voices in your head, because I have probably triple that.
Oh, this was just at that specific instance.
Oh, okay.
Not always, but about what was there. Yeah. And, the whole thing, as I was walking and moving, and the whole thing is, yes, like all of that was within me. None of it was outside of me. None of it. All was within me. So I had the choice to make. Did I want to continue to walk down that path with all of these various thoughts and emotions shouting their barrage of opinions at me, or did I want them to be quiet a bit, because at that moment they were actually not really serving me a purpose in that condition. I try to sort of do a bit of self inquiry, and sometimes I just say, look, I know you're all there. but I don't know what to do with you right now, but I hear you. So please just kind of take a step back until I can sort you out individually.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carol. You can
Oh,
say.
I've heard many times they say you can't appreciate being happy if you haven't experienced being sad, or you can't experience, one extreme if you haven't experienced the other. Do you find there to be any truth in that? I mean, can we seriously be joyful and happy every single moment of every single day? Or do we have to have that comparison to know what feels like something we don't want to know what we do want to feel?
Now that is a deep question, Carol.
Yeah, I know.
In the podcast I think we did last week, we were talking about twinning, that we're our own twin. And what that meant was that, we have the low vibration, we have the high vibration. Both of those things, high, low, however you define it, are working for our good. Both of them are. And I don't know if it's, when you say that statement, I think of a statement that I had made to somebody once about cancer. And I said, I don't have to have a cancerous experience to know that that's not something I want.
Right.
So I don't think you have to have that. I know in some cultural frameworks, the yin, the yang. But I don't know necessarily if you have to have all of that in order to experience the opposite. Some people might disagree with me. I think we can use the term empathy with others. I empathize with your experience. I understand how you feel, and then mine stops right there. I don't go into sympathy over it. For myself, I did not need to experience COVID to know that how wonderful it is to be without it. In other words, so I don't know if one relies on the other. I would probably have a tendency to say no, it doesn't. But we can add to that, if you believe that, go back to belief systems. If you believe that, then of course that's how it's going to work for you. You got to have the yin before you have the yang, or whatever.
Right. That's what I was thinking about when I was, reflecting on the question, that I think, that goes down to like that's a direct question that goes back to what are your beliefs? If, I guess if you really truly, believe that, enlightenment equals, constant happiness and joy or elation or whatever. And if that is, really your unshakable belief, I guess that's what you experience, and others of us, who maybe have been in the religious paradigm for at least part of our lives and are trying to unwind sin and all that kind of business, more of like a dual look at things, then, we would be on the spectrum of, no, there are ebbs and flows, ups and downs, so that's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So technically it always comes down to your choices. And I once had someone say to me that choosing to be happy is an ongoing daily exercise, the same way your muscles, if you're into working out, if you stop working out, your muscles will lose their strength. When you go back to exercising your muscles, it's almost a little harder to get started again. But your mind is the same way. If you don't exercise your choice to be like, wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be happy today, you start to lose. That's how we slip into depression states. And I know that I've had that experiences, those challenges before. And each time it's almost a little bit harder to get started back on the road to happiness. But again, it's my choice to do so.
I think happiness also is relative
Right.
to the
That's true.
person's belief system, because somebody could be happy killing somebody.
That is so true.
Brought them a lot of joy. Some people look at the wars and confrontations that are going on. I've listened to people say, oh yes, I want to kill all those people. That would make them happy.
That's true. That's
saying?
very true.
So
Perspective.
happiness is like harmony. You got to be careful when you say, I want to be in a harmonious state with my mate. I tell anybody who says that, I said, be careful of that, because you don't know what the state your mate is going to be in, and then you're saying you want to be in it. Harmony is a word that can work with low vibration as far as high vibration. Happiness can do the same thing.
That's
so it
very
would be,
true.
to define what do you mean by happiness? Look at yourself and see. It might mean more. Happiness can be a challenge.
Yes.
Depending on where
like,
you're going.
Everything's on the spectrum, right?
Absolutely.
Like nothing is black or white. There's gradients of if everything's a circle and there are 360 degrees in that circle, then it's just 360 different ways of looking at everything, I guess.
Absolutely. And see what both of you said in your own different ways is choice of what reality I want to bring into. And it's going to be based on my unconscious and my perception and my personality. What kind of personality do I have? Am I a personality who wants to laugh all the time? Look, there were some wonderful comedians that you thought nothing. You thought, oh, they're leading a great life. They stand up in front of people, they make you laugh and everything. Then they turn around and commit suicide. I mean, so it's really, all of this is about choice. That's why the quote says, be thankful for all. Just be thankful for all, because it keeps us in a search of self. It takes us into looking inside ourselves and saying, who am I? How am I defining myself? Because everything, like Leigh said earlier, is internal, not external. Internal. So we don't want to negate ourselves. That's why it says be thankful for all, because sometimes we can sit around and say, well, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I didn't want to do that. Why did I say that to that person? We question our own sense of operation. And the thing is, everything is okay. It's okay whatever we create. It's okay, because first of all, we're creating in illusions to begin with. Like if I really look at my own situation, I really never did have COVID. I never did have strep throat, because I am not my body. See, the body is just the vehicle by which we use to operate in this reality. It's like you want to fly to New York, you're getting on an airplane, or you get a bus, or you get a train, or you drive. It's the vehicle. This body is the vehicle that keeps us going in this particular reality that we have chosen to be in. But what is really going on is that we are the force, we are divinity. So behind my COVID experience, I am divine. I am a divine being, and I'm in perfect health. That's why we tell people, focus on what you want. Don't spend the time focusing on what you don't want. I could say all kinds of things, about this experience. I could bitch for days on it, but why do that? Why be bothered with it? Just say, okay, this is the experience I've chosen. I'm only temporarily experiencing it, and that's it. What did it do for me? Taught me anger, taught me to speak up when I want to say things, and it released me from being emotionally attached to the person that I perceived I was angry at.
Mm.
You see?
Oh,
So go ahead, Leigh.
Oh no, I was saying, I think that's important that thankful for all, if, when we can find the perspective or the moment to, I can only speak for myself. It comes naturally to start, so maybe being a little hard on myself, but if I can get out of that loop and have the awareness to say, like, okay, this is created, this is happening, just be thankful for it. And instead of going on the, being hard on myself train, think about, okay, like what do I have to learn from this? Like, what am I, where can I get some understanding into myself more, would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Greta, I think you mentioned illusion. I think that reminding ourselves that we're sitting in illusion all the time is probably a very beneficial attitude to helping ourselves not be in that state of being hard on ourselves or blaming ourselves. Just remember that it's all illusion. It's all for our learning, and we are always the force, and we are always divine. And
Absolutely.
that's very helpful.
But the only thing is, like we've said on the podcast, it's easier said than done.
Oh, for sure.
It can be challenging it depends on what the situation is, and it depends on what we've created and what level of angst we've created in this, or what level of joy we've created in this. It's like what Leigh said, it comes in gradients.
Correct.
You can paint your walls dark gray or light gray. That's a gradient. And so our experiences have gradients to them as well. And we've used the term reverberation. You create something and it can reverberate to others. That's why I wanted to get rid of the anger, because that anger could reverberate into other situations. My interactions with my husband, my interactions with my daughter, my interactions with you all, how I get along with other people. And, it's a reverberation. The creation that we have, each moment of creation of reality is reverberating and moving toward another part of itself. It's extending itself. So if it's something that's low vibrational, get rid of it. Get rid of it in your mind. QDR it. Whatever you need to do. Some of you pray, some of you do affirmations. However, get rid of it. Don't hold it in. Don't hold it down on the farm.
And just conversely, that reverberation works, in the other sense too, right? Because those other better feelings, can also flow into your next creations.
Absolutely. I could go in and have a birthday party, I think it's time, isn't it, Leigh?
Yes, ladies and listeners, we've reached the point in the podcast where we'll take a short pause, and when we get back, we will hear from the realm. So thank you for listening. This is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We'll be right back. Hello, and welcome back to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We've reached the point in the podcast where we get to hear directly from the realm. So, realm, are you with us?
All of us are here and we're eager to get started.
Super. Well, welcome. Today, the quotation we've been discussing is, each reality that you create is a new dawning, a new beginning. So revel in your creations and be thankful for all. They are supporting you in your lessons and spiritual evolution. What would you like to tell us about that today?
Turkeys. Turkeys. We know that you all just sat down and filled your bodies with turkeys or hams or some wonderful dishes that you had yesterday. Dressing, cranberry sauce, all that good stuff. We're reveling in it. See how wonderful it is to revel in just joy and happiness. Now, those of you who ate too much, today may be a challenge. You see, so you created something different, but that's all right. Just it'll pass. Just and that's what we want to say. The things pass if you want them to pass. Don't hang on to things that you don't want. You know, if it's a dis-ease that you are experiencing, then think of being in perfect health, because you really are. You see, the illness is the illusion. So don't necessarily buy into it. You may have created it, but then just say to yourselves, I have temporarily created this experience. That word temporarily, that means you're letting your unconscious and you're letting yourself know, I'm not keeping this. Yeah, I created it, but I'm not keeping it. We were there when we saw Gretta just fall over. It was an interesting experience. She just fell over into the grass. And it wasn't even grass, it was those spruce things. There was nothing we could do. We couldn't just reach down there and pull her up. But she created to find other people to help her stand on her feet. So that was a recreation, She created a fall over. You should have seen it. It was interesting. She just fell over. And then she just laid there. We saw her turn over, lay on her back, and we just looked at her. And two people came and they helped her stand on her feet. So look how she uncreated that. She created to fall, and then she created to stand up. That's the same thing. You create something, redo it. She didn't stay there. Otherwise, she'd be there now, not on the podcast, laying on the ground, laying in the dirt, or laying on those spruce things. But no, we have the opportunity to change all the time. Don't be stuck. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to be stuck in poverty. You don't have to be stuck in lack. You don't have to be stuck in any of those things. We know if we want to be stuck in joy and peace and love and to go dancing. We know Carol was a dancer.
Yeah.
Dancing, So you're creating that again, Carol. You're creating that. You're on the pathway to create, to be able to go dancing again. You see, so it's not staying in that same old, same old. There's no fate and there's no destiny. Why people would want to believe in destiny, I don't know, but that's a choice. I wouldn't necessarily want to believe in that because then that means I don't create my own reality. Then it means that whatever happens to me, I have to deal with that. No. Just change your mind. It's as simple as that. We've used the thing about the dress on the podcast before, or shirt or tie. You go in, you look in your closet, and you decide which one I want to wear. You might put on the pink dress and you stand there, or you might put on a yellow tie and you stand there and you say, not today. So you go, you put the things back in the closet and you choose something else. That's what life is. That's what life is.
Life is like a giant closet.
Absolutely. And some of us hang on to the things. You know, some people don't clean their closets. They like to hang on to their closets. They like to hang on to clothes that don't fit them anymore with the hope that they'll eventually come down to the size so they can wear it again.
That's a great analogy.
You
Right?
know,
Do you think that's the metaphor? Like, do you think people can use that as a gauge or barometer for their life? Like how easily they get rid of the things in their closets could potentially be like how easily you forgive people, or how easily you let things go, like in your internal world as well. Like that's like the microcosm and the macrocosm, right? Maybe, I don't know.
no, that was a good one, Leigh. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So clean out those closets. Some people put things in their attics, and they've been there for 20 and 30 years with the idea that they're going to use it. Instead of taking the things out and circulating it. Circulate your prosperity. Don't just hang on to it. Circulate it. Because as you circulate, so are things circulated back to you as well, you see. And circulate joy. When you circulate joy, guess what? The joy is going to be circulating back to you. If you circulate pain and anguish, guess what? There's going to be pain and anguish circulated back to you. So it is the choice. But both things, if you choose joy or if you choose anguish, it doesn't matter really. Other than the fact that which one do you want to deal with? Which one do you want to deal with, the joy or the anguish? The anguish is going to teach you certain lessons, and the joy will teach you certain lessons, or the anguish and the joy can teach you the same lesson. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it depends on the lessons that you have agreed to learn, and how. See, that word is coming up again for us. How do you want to learn those lessons? That's the creation of reality. And we're never bored. Think about that. You're never ever sitting down not creating. You're in a state of creation of reality at every moment. At every moment. So you
When you put it in the words of choosing, do you want to choose to learn in joy or choose in anguish? I think most people would automatically say, oh, I want to choose in joy. And yet, so many of us end up choosing anguish without realizing that we're choosing a low vibrational way to learn. Is there a way to be more aware of something like that?
What happens with that, Carol, is that you learn to be aware of yourself. See, a lot of times people are aware of other people. Mm-hmm. They spend more time looking at other people. What we're saying is take that time and look at yourselves. Watch yourselves. Watch what is coming out of your mouth, you see. What are you saying? What's coming out of your mouth? What's in your brain? What are you thinking? Or in your mind? What are you thinking about? You know, watch yourself. We don't watch ourselves enough. We'll just say any old kind of thing. Comes out of our mouth. Some people say things and they think it's a joke. But, you know, we're always, you know, be careful of those jokes, because the unconscious does not perceive something being a joke or not. It just sees it as it is. So if you've made a joke that's really kind of derogatory towards somebody else, you're really aiming that joke at yourself. And then consequently, the unconscious will say, oh, he or she that person wants to experience that. So then you wind up being the one experiencing something that you thought was a joke. You see, so watch what you speak, watch what you think. That will help you watch what you create. Yes, that's how that works. But
Well, if I can just go back to Greta's fall. I'm glad you found it so amusing. I was worried about her, but that's okay. Her fall really was, from the way she explained it to me, was sort of her trigger point of backtracking to why she got COVID, why she got strep throat, and how she was able to connect the dots back to the person she was angry with. What happens when I know a lot of times I will do the mental equivalencies, and I might find out that it has something to do with anger or something to do with ego, but I can't always connect it to the person that it's at the base of, if that's a good way to word it. How do I complete the connections?
Well, you'll make the connection. Sometimes you might not even make the connection. And that's okay. What you
Isn't
want
whoever,
go ahead, Leigh.
I was just saying, like, isn't whoever it is, like, whatever the external trigger is, it's almost irrelevant, right? Because the point is, it's within you. Like, it's your own anger that you have to deal with it. It's just that external person that is making you aware of it. But almost whoever it is on the outside, it doesn't even necessarily matter, does it?
But
Not
isn't
really.
sometimes an external person the root cause? For instance, like in our childhood, could have been one of our parents that caused our certain
But
experiences.
like, if you're finding, I think if you're finding some trauma, the trauma's within you. Like, it could have been because your mom locked you in the closet or something, but ultimately, like, her locking you in the closet, that feeling is in you. So it doesn't matter, like, who did it necessarily. You had the experience, and you have the latent or emotion still, like, stuck in you, within you. So you have to realize it's there and, work to release that, right? Like, the person who supported you in that feeling, doesn't necessarily.
Absolutely.
That's a good one, Leigh.
Absolutely, because as we've said before, your challenges are internal and so are the solutions. That's why I was saying, pay attention to you. Pay more attention to you than you pay to other people. Because you are the one that is creating the realities that you are experiencing. Nobody else can create that for you. Nobody can do anything to you. It's impossible. The only thing that they can do is to support you. Create, support, create. That is all that anyone can do for you, or that you can do for anyone else. It's a support mechanism.
I was just going to say, like, I don't even think, let's, use an example. Harry said X, Y, and Z to me, and that made me so hurt inside, or angry inside, or felt so worthless inside. I mean, Harry doesn't have the anger or the worthlessness or whatever. He was just the catalyst for you to, it's ultimately you who's feeling those feelings. And so you have to deal with it. I mean, I don't even know that, what we say, sometimes we learn these things. Oh, well, I have to say something to Harry that he shouldn't talk to me like that again. Because I mean, and I think we maybe talked about this on a podcast, like, if Harry said exactly those words to you on a day that you weren't tired or you weren't hungry or you weren't already mad at someone, they would have had a completely different effect on you. So everything is like where you are, not where the person is.
Harry
And like,
is just your reflection.
I'm sorry.
Harry would just be your reflection.
Right.
He's reflecting to you what you already feel.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We turn around and look at others, and we want to blame others for our creations of reality. There's no need for blame because you create everything yourself.
Realm.
Yes.
On this, kind of like, I'm, I guess, a little stuck on this groove. I mean, if everything is kind of internal, does it, just what I was saying to Carol, does it even, does it help anything to, like, oh, well, is it worth any of our time to go and talk to Harry to say, oh, Harry, I didn't appreciate the way you spoke to me. Please, I would like you to be more respectful, in other, does that ever, like, does that ever work? Like, does it ever matter to like go and talk to the person you perceived wronged you?
Well, you have to see that that person is also creating the reality. So anything that anybody says to you, you have created for them to say it to you.
Mhm.
So Harry, when he's receiving what you're saying, that means he's created to hear, he's creating to hear it. And
Mhm.
at the same time, simultaneously, he's supporting you by listening. So that creating is going on constantly. Create, support, support, create. For you, you wanted to feel better about letting Harry know what you felt.
Mhm.
You're really describing how I felt or how you felt when
Right.
Harry said it. So what you're doing is creating the opportunity to speak to Harry about it. That's your creation of reality. His support of Harry is to listen to you.
Mhm.
Your support of Harry is maybe he was thinking about what happened and wanted more clarification. So therefore you're supporting him by telling him. You see, it's a constant exchange of create, support, support, create
Mhm.
simultaneously. You can even have that type of relationship with an animal.
Right.
You forget to feed the dog or the cat and they just sit there and look at you. Some dogs may jump around and they're going to let you know. So it's a create, support, support, create.
Or you take the cat to the vet and he bites you and not the technicians.
Well, that's interesting, Carol. We
I know.
are aware of your cats. And
Yes, yes.
especially that particular cat we are aware of. We've met him.
Yes, I know.
Realm, we just have a couple of minutes. Is there anything you would like to close with before we wrap up the podcast?
Happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving, even though it's a day later. But be thankful, revel in yourselves, in your beingness, in your divinity. And just note, you're a combination of both low and high. So don't worry about it. Just keep on pushing and love yourselves unconditionally.
Thank you, Realm. That is the most important thing for us to remember always. And it's easy to blame others. That's sort of an easy path to take rather than to take responsibility for ourselves. But by doing that, we're denying the creation of reality. So if you believe in create your own reality, you have to believe that you can't blame others for what's happening or what you're feeling, because you are creating it.
Oh,
So why not create joy? Why not create divinity?
as well. And as we get to say goodbye to everyone. Goodbye, everyone out there. We'll talk to you again next week.
Well, listeners, Greta, Carol, Realm, thank you for being here today. This concludes another podcast of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Until we create each other again, be well.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with the Realm and me, Greta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multi-dimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.